Hey guys, it's Sally here from Strength for Dance. We're just going to be looking at foot strengthening today with an exercise that we use in clinic called point through demi-point. We're training our point strength via a demi-point position. Now to start off this exercise today, I'm going to do some releases using my yoga tune-up balls. Remember, you can use a tennis ball for this as well if you want to. So we're going to just release off the front of the shin first to create some movement or allow more movement into the ankle. We're also going to do the underside of the foot. Let's get going. Now to start with the front of the shin, I'm going to be working in this muscly area here. I'm not necessarily going to be rolling on my bone. I can with these balls because they're quite soft, and that would be an osteofascial release. And I'm going to be primarily focusing on tibialis anterior and my toe extensors sitting underneath. So I'm going to use two balls in their little bag. Again, you can use two tennis balls wrapped inside a stocking. Just popping it under the shin here, melting in up near the knee, and just holding this position a little bit, allowing my body weight to allow melting onto the ball. I'm going to very slowly snow plow my way down towards the ankle. Pause and snow plow my way back up again. Now this snow plow effect, you want to think of dragging those upper layers of tissue and pushing them very slowly to shear them on the layers underneath. So if you're from a colder climate, we're going to call it snow plow. If you're from a sunny place like here in Sydney, we're thinking of pushing through the beach, pushing through the sand. Now take some time doing this, don't do it as quickly as I'm doing it today. If you find an area that's a little bit sore, you can stay here, maybe wiggle the foot around a little bit. You might want to shear a little bit right and left as well, just to create as much relaxation as possible. You can then bring the balls down to sit just in front of the ankle here. So that's on the front of your ankle retinacula, another area that can prevent or inhibit range with point. And again, I'm just going to rest here, melt my body weight down, take a longer time than I'm demoing here. I'm going to shear right and left, so I'm going in this direction. Again, thinking of peaking up the top tissue and dragging it on the bottom one. I can roll forwards and backwards a little bit, and I can move my foot around in all directions also. Okay, then quickly pop your ball out of its bag. We're going to come into the underside of the foot. So melting in behind the toe joints and just rolling towards the heel. Melt behind the second toe of joints. Roll towards the heel. Again, it very much has this snowplow effect. I might want to stay here, just in front of my heel, shear right and left. Then, resting the ball underneath this row of toe knuckles, allowing the joints to open, and then I'm going to move my toes around like this. And I can even do my piano toes or my toe swapping here. So if I start with toe swapping, big toe up, and then they swap, or I can come with piano. So I've got a really nice warm up into the whole foot, releasing at the front, releasing underneath, and trying to create some space into the transverse arch. Then we'll come on to point through demi-point. So what we want to look at here is starting with the foot flexed. This would be the equivalent of standing upright on the floor with our tripod foot connection. From here, we're going to point as hard as we can through the actual ankle joint here. My toes are still up, demi-point. From here, I'm going to lengthen the toes and create a full point position, come back through demi-point and back up into the equivalent of our standing. Now, when we're pushing down through the foot, we want to come down even. So even pressure between toes 1 and 5. Now, if you have the flexibility, you can practice this with your fingers. If you want to, you could pop a band around here, but just put it here in the knuckles. Don't put the band near the pads of your toes because you'll be tempted to grip on the band, and that just promotes flexed toes, which again can end up leading to injuries around the ankle area where the tendons sit. So we're pushing down even. You'll probably find when you do this, you'll want to push down quite strongly with the first toe joint. So we come down even here and encourage as much motion through this ankle area. We've released this area off already, so hopefully we've got the maximum amount of movement that we can use. Come back up again. Once again, leading down even, and then return. Now, when we lengthen the toes on the end, this is where we want to ensure that we have very long toes and that we're not gripping or clawing. So this exercise really should be done after you've got a good execution of your doming exercise. So check that out on the channel. For help getting these long toes, we can use the ball. Now, I'm probably going to need a little less air in this ball. So, from my full ankle point position, I'm then going to press the pads of my toes down onto the ball. I don't know if you can see that, so my toes are pressing like that. The equivalent here with my fingers, just gently pressing, not gripping. This gives me some stimulus to upregulate the small muscles within the foot and also help connect the muscles at the back of the calf in an optimal manner. So I can keep my point here and just keep pressing the pads of my toes down to strengthen this position. What I want you to think about with your point when you're doing a tendu is that the point is really going to come from toe knuckles towards the heel. That's where we want the movement happening. Try not to think too much about bringing the pads of the toes to the heel. So we have the strength here in the arch, and the pads are really just like an embellishment on top. So once again, sitting, we have flexed, demi-point, full tendu, return, come back up again. If you need some strengthening, probably use a blow-up ball. You can use a cushion or something like that as well if you don't have one of these to hand. Release, exercise, multiple reps, build up that endurance, build up that motor memory pattern. And then this exercise can then be done in standing as a tendu. So with standing, we want to point through the demi-point, press the pads of the toes down, full point, demi, return. Slide tendu, articulate through the foot, back down, close. Enjoy guys, enjoy nice, strong, classical pointy feet.